All right. Hello, Kairos community and Kairos Nation. It's your girl, Dr. K. And guess what? We are ready to kick off our teacher talks for the 24 school year. And I am super excited to introduce to you one amazing educator. Today, our first person that we're going to highlight is an educator by the name of A'Maya Wiley. Now, I can talk all day about A'Maya, but guess what? Let's hear from her. A'Maya, tell everyone out there a little bit more about yourself as an educator and what brought you to Kairos.
So I started off actually in child care centers. I was a foster child and I went in and out of group homes and foster care. And I remember being in daycares and like really attaching myself to my teacher and feeling like this is my safe place. When I come in here, I feel safe. So my go-to was like, oh my God, I want to teach. Like I want to be able to give back what I received that made me feel like I was okay when I was going through as a child. So I started off at KAMS Kids Daycare, which is my family owns. And then from there, I branched out into youth in need because they gave more to children as well as like small grouping homes that allow them like I'm struggling at home, but this is a safe place for you to come live as well. And we will help you branch out and get your own place and move out further. And then once I left Youth in Need, I went to UCCC in University City, which I loved so much. Like it taught me a lot about like meeting children where they are, giving them what they need to reach those cognitive skills and learning how to outreach with families and not only just supporting the kids, but as well as those parents so that we're both on the same page and meeting those needs. And once I left UCCC, I was at KIP Victory, which was great. I was in the self-contained room for SPED as a para. I worked directly with one student who I still talk to this day. He had a bunch of needs, going blind in one of his eyes, needing that very much support, still needing to be changed. And I built a relationship with him, and I ended up finding out that his mom, when I was a freshman in high school, and I was the command leader because I attended in Cleveland High School, she was one of my platoons. She was a freshman, so it ended up being like, oh my God, like a full
Full
circle
circle.
moment.
Yes.
Yes. And from there, I came here to Kairos. And what brought me to Kairos was I was on Indeed and I was looking like, I just want to give more. I want a place that gives more to kids with special needs. I want a place that's going to teach me more and allow me to grow. And I came in for an interview with Miss Pendleton and Miss Bree, and it was just like, wow, like this place offers so much. They give you so much. They give you the tools. If you don't have the tools, it's like, hey, we see where you can be based off what you have, and we're going to give you everything you need to continue to reach and grow further and better support our babies. And it's just been an amazing journey for me. I tell Miss Pendleton all the time, I did not know I would be in a place that I am this year, me coming in here last year. And I've grown so much, and I know it's because of Kairos and because of how much is put into me from administration and how much my peers, my coworkers give and tell me like, you got this, you can do this, we're a team. This is what we're doing for our babies, and we're going to only thrive if we do it together.
I love that. And what I really appreciate about you that I know your kids love is you are really relatable. And the way that you talked about that positive energy from your story, and how you bring all of that, your full self into the classroom is really evident. Talk to me a little bit about the way that you greet your kids, because one thing that I was highly impressed with is when your kids come into the classroom, girl, you line them up, you get them ready. So talk to me a little bit more about that positive affirmation and how you really see your kids for who they are, and the educator that you are is able to kind of bring that out. So talk to me a little bit more about that.
For me, I know some days I get up in the morning and I'm not my best or my night didn't end so well. So I have to do like a in the mirror moment. I got this, you got this, God got me. Like I'm gonna get through this day, everything's gonna be okay. So I just feel like the same thing with my babies. Like they're coming in from home. We don't always know what's going on. And sometimes it's just like a drag. It was just Sunday, now it's Monday, and I'm back in the building. So what I do is I have a very like tall mirror I stand in the hallway with it. My babies know, like, let's line up. We're going to get some order going here. We're going to still communicate with each other, but we're going to line up. And before I walk in this room, I'm going to give myself affirmations to remind myself why I am here, what my purpose is, and who I am as a person outside of the noise around me. So all of the babies have their own things. Sometimes it's just a quick, like, I'm fly today and I got this, or it's a, I struggled yesterday, but I'm going to do better tomorrow. Like, this is me. And they look forward to it. Actually, my mirror ended up breaking and they were like, Miss Maya, I can't come in there yet. Like, where's the mirror? Like, where's my affirmation? So I had to get like my handheld mirror. Like, this is, you got it still. Like, even without the mirror, affirm yourself every day. You don't need a mirror to tell you who you are. Before you walk in, if I don't have the mirror, stand there and say, Miss Maya, I got this. This is me. I'm this, I'm that, and still go about your day.
Absolutely.
But that is something they definitely look forward to. I get in trouble if I don't have the mirror up right away.
They want that consistency.
Yes.
And what I also love is not only the way that you prepare to greet your students, like where they are. So setting up that social emotional learning environment. I love that the learning and the teaching is happening. Tell me, how do you typically prepare to teach a lesson and even a project? What does your preparation look like?
So typically, I actually work backwards in a lesson. I try to go to like my PFAs and I look at what's needed for those PFAs and what information I need to give them in order for them to succeed with doing those PFAs. So I work backwards. I will look at those. I'll take some data, some notes, look at the questions, kind of revamp them. And I make sure in my do now, I put those in my Nearpod. So when they're in Nearpod, it's going over what my lesson is. So if my lesson is over body systems, I've looked at those PFA questions and I'm saying, this is what we need. This is what the lesson is giving you in order for you to do that final product. But this is also what you need for those PFAs. So we're going to work through this and then I'm going to give you many quizzes or many reviews in the Nearpod that allow you to give me the information for me to know, A, you get this, or B, you don't. And then that's how I collect my data. And that was lets me know what my exit ticket should look like. Or for the next day, this is what my do now needs to look like now, because based off the data from the Nearpod yesterday, they still need support with this.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are true Summit parents, you understand our curriculum is project based. And so I love how you're talking about those power focus areas and how you use mastery of that to gauge content understanding of for your scholars. I'm also interested in knowing, how do you make sure that you have various touch points that kids are learning? I know you talked about the do now, you talked about your exit tickets. What are some other strategies that you use as an educator using the Summit platform to gauge scholar learning?
I like to do games with the kids. For instance, when we were going over body systems last week, I made sure like we went over it, we reviewed it. I allowed them to group themselves with their peers for who you feel like you can work best with, who you feel like would support you if you had a struggle. And then once we went through that work and their lesson, I put everything in like basically squares on a board like a Jeopardy. So here are our terms. We're going to launch out. So right side against left side. I'm going to put the term up there. Everyone has the sticky note with the word that match. Whoever gets up there to their board first, it can solve all of the 16 words. But for the other side, that's my group that wins. That's my group that has a little bit of a choice time tomorrow instead of us going through the terms again, because now I know you got it and you understand.
That
So
friendly
they look forward.
competition.
Yes, they look forward to the competition because it's like, oh my God, make sure y'all study because we're in a group together. We got to get this. So it becomes more fun, which gets them more engaged instead of them being bored and feeling like this is just another vocab. This is just another quiz. This is just another review. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait to get to class, Miss Amaya, because my side gonna win.
There you go. They are eager to learn and really engage in the learning process.
Yes.
What I want to ask you now about is, when people come to Kairos, not only do they really appreciate the way that we're reimagining education, but they've heard us say this thing about our Summit learning platform. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience, especially considering the fact that you were new to Summit, new to Kairos? How have you really been I guess, overcoming that challenge and still being as successful as you are to making sure that the scholars are learning through that platform?
For me, when I first got into Summit, I was like, this looks great, but oh my God, how am I going to navigate through this? How am I going to be able to get everything I need out of it in order to teach my babies correctly.
Mm-mm.
So with me going into summit training with Kairos, which was great because not every school offers that. Not every school gives you training through a curriculum to better support the kids. But with me going through that, I was able to like realize like it's going to give them exactly what they need. It's going to break the lesson down. It's going to allow you to tweak the lesson and scaffold for your kids who may need a little more support, or scaffold for the kids who are advanced and don't need as much support, and you may need to give them something more to keep them engaged. So with me working through Summit, I now get like, okay, this is my lesson. This is what this child need. I'm able to put this in there and make sure that they can see it and that they can get it, and also put it in an exemplar. So if we are in class working out and I'm with another group, they know like I can go on my Summit tab, I can click this exemplar, and I can still work through this until Miss A'Maya is able to get to me. For me, it's like very clear understanding for them, because if let's say I don't reach or give them everything they need for, let's say, a power focus area, in the lesson it's there. So this is your power focus area. This is what you need. Here are your notes. These are the most important notes you need. All of these are in bold. This is what you need to study. This is your resource. So we're going through your resources. Here are your mini activities. If
Mm-hmm.
you can get past these mini activities, you've went through your resources, you've worked through everything, you understand. So now with you finishing those activities, ask for feedback, and then I will give you the feedback, and now we're on the same page. This is what you've done. Yes, you understand. Great job on this question. Keep moving forward to the next thing. I look forward to hearing your next response. So for me, Summit is like, it's better than any curriculum I've ever seen. Like I've never seen anything like it. And I think the kids appreciate it because before they were used to, I don't understand. I just have to wait for a tutor, or I just have to wait till my teacher have time. Where now they can go in and say, I don't understand. Let me click this resource again and watch the video again. Or let me listen to it again. Or let me read through it again. Or I can phone a friend. We're all in the same class. We're all in the same thing. Hey, go on your somebody, click on this because Miss Amaya said it was this. I'm looking at the resource. I don't understand this. Go
Mm-hmm.
to your feedback and let me know what she said about yours so that I can better correct mine.
I
So it
love
just
that.
gives them so much
Mm-hmm.
that even if you don't feel like you have it all in class, you can go back in it later and send me a message. Miss Amaya, I'm working on this. I need this. And you don't get that through everything. And it makes it easier for me to teach as well as for the kids to be able to ask for support.
I love that, Amaya, especially when you're talking about how do you set kids up to be like self-directed learners. And so I really appreciate you kind of going more in depth on some strategies that you use, the way
Mhm.
that you use the classroom, and how kids kind of collaborate with their peers to do that. The next thing that I want you to talk a little bit more about is mentoring, right? We hear mentoring a whole lot, but we actually have restructured what mentoring looks like. A lot of our parents want to know a little bit more about how that actually happens. And then, even since you are one of our great mentors, on top of teaching content, tell everyone a little bit more about that process and how you spend that hour to not only set our scholars up for like that executive functioning and that sense of agency. How do you use that to really make sure, when we think about like the habits of success, that they walk away feeling like they're being mentored and set up for success?
So for my mentoring class, we set up our own routine. So they want to hear their music when they first come in. They want the first 5 minutes to be like a cool down. I just got in the building. Let me get my mind together. Let me adjust and get myself settled. So I play whatever their little playlist. They're sitting there. Some of them are sitting with their eyes closed and they're just like breathing through the moments. Some of them are like talking with peers, like, this we getting ready to get started. We're gonna do circle, or we got to do this. Can you work with me on this? But
Mm-hmm.
once that is done, they're in Summit. So we literally do walk in, breathe, get your 5 minutes. Once that is over, the timer goes off. This is work time. So they pull up their computers, they're in Summit. I typically walk around and monitor to make sure everybody is on what they need to be on. And then we set goals. What's your SMART goal for today? Make sure it's smart, make sure it's measurable, make sure it's achievable,
Yep.
realistic, and time bound. If it's not meeting the aspects, let's go through it again. Class, as a group, let's support our friends. What should our goal look like? If you know you have a SMART goal, read that out really quickly so that we can better support our friends.
Mm-hmm.
Once I know that everybody has their SMART goal in, and I'm walked around and checked as well as looked in on my computer as well, because in Summit, another great thing, it allows you to see the goal that they put in.
Yep.
So once I can see that all of my scholars have put their goal in, Let's move forward and get into some work time. What classes are you struggling in? And if it's not a struggle, what class do you feel like you want more support in, or that you want to be pushed a little bit further in? So I kind of break them off in groups. If you want to work on math this morning, sit with this group. You guys can work through this together, and vice versa for other subjects. Once they are in, and I know like I have my excellent kid at each table, I know that I can start pulling in for mentoring. And
Mm-hmm.
mentoring for me has it's made my class, my advisory class, so much better. Like my kids are, they're open with me, and I know they trust me. I've like given them those worksheets. Like, what are your stressors? What are you going through? What do you need support with? Who's that trusted adult for you? And it's really warming to hear them say, "Oh, Miss Amaya, is you." Like I can come to you for anything. So I'm
Yes.
able to ask those questions like outside of school, because I'm not just here for you just to teach you. I want to be a part of your life on an everyday basis. So what's going on at home? Are you feeling safe? If something is going great, that was great. Tell me more about it. How's your mom? How's your dad? If it's not your mom or your dad, how's your aunt or uncle or your cousin or your grandma? And sometimes I have those babies who need additional support, and that's okay. You know what? We can talk after class. I can reach out to mom and let her know, hey, Kairos does have this resource and we support you. Let us know if you need anything else.
Yep.
And I think they appreciate that a lot more because they feel like outside of home, Kairos is my home. This is my additional place.
What really resonated with me, Amaya, is when you're talking about building the relationships and the intentionality behind it. And I think those relationships have really aided in you becoming the great team leader, as well as even being a step team, like the leader on that, because you
Mhm.
really have seamlessly navigated all of these different parts of the relationship, and they really see you as a trusted individual. The last question that I have for you that I want you to talk to our community about is when we think about parents are as our partners and what
Mhm.
they need to know, and even for new parents that are considering Kairos as an option, tell me about the relationship that you build with the parents, and how can parents help support their kids with Kairos and our curriculum and all the other things that we offer to help them in general as they become like great citizens.
My check-ins on Fridays with parents is like, this is a mentor check-in for your baby. So this is what's going great. This is what they've been working on this week. Here's what you can look forward to next week. And then I kind of round it off with, do you have any questions or concerns for me? And do
Mhm.
you feel like your needs are being met as the parent of this scholar? And is there any way we can better support you to support your child while you're at home? And you do have those parents who really want to support. Yes, I want to understand Summit better, or my child was working on this and I didn't understand how to do it. Could you send me more resources so that I can better support them while we're at home? And for me, that's great because I can say, hey, matter of fact, choose a day to volunteer and come in so that you can get a better understanding of how the class works on a day-to-day basis. And you can come in and say, hey, now I get it, son. So this is what Miss Amaya was looking for.
Mhm.
This is what you need to be doing. And now I know how to navigate through Summit. So when you are struggling at home, I can support you. The other thing for support is that dismissal. That part to me is so important because parents really only see us in the morning and when they're picking up those their babies.
Yep.
So, for instance, for the scholars I know very well and I've spoken with their parents, I go to the car like, hey, Miss Jones, it was like he had a great day today. Like, I want you to know that he's still thriving, he's still pushing through. I know I told you we were working on this and he was struggling a little bit. I want you to know he took better notes today and he did X, Y, and Z. If you can do me a favor and make sure he jumps in and he reviews that again with you, and then let me know how he did in the morning when I talk to you again at pickup.
Yep.
And that works very well for parents as well because they don't see us and they're at work just like we're at work, and we spend majority of the time with their babies. And sometimes kids need to know that you support me as well as my family, and that my mom as well as you are on the same page. So what you're expecting of me, my mom knows as well, and what my mom is expecting of me, you know as well, and we're all
Mhm.
on the same page. And it's consistent, and kids need consistency,
They
and
do.
without that they can't thrive. So all of us being on the same page and communicating for the better of them supports them better, and it makes them feel heard and seen.
All right. Well, Miss Wiley, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for sharing and providing us with some more insight. Before we get out of here, is there anything else that you feel like you want to share with our viewers or with our parents, with our students that I haven't asked you that you feel like is really important or instrumental in how you're successful in the myriad of roles that you play on campus?
Yes, for me, I would just want to say continue to support Kairos and try to be as active as you can. We have so many doors that we are opening for family and kids and so many opportunities. And I feel like if we take advantage of those and we work together as a team in the community, Kairos would thrive, which means our babies would thrive and we can get so much more done if we work together. Also, my step team, the
Yes.
first Kairos step
Talk
team
about them.
in
Yes,
the
yes,
building.
yes.
We kicked butt at that first prep rally, and I'm so proud of the team. It is co-ed. I have girls as well as boys on the team,
Mm.
and it is open for anybody to join. Kairos is opening the doors for so many activities: basketball, cheerleading, soccer, volleyball, step, esports, science clubs, debate, crochet club. There are so
Yes.
many opportunities. Push your babies to step outside of their box, get involved, do something extra that enriches their mind and can, brighten their application. They're going to go to college soon. They're going to see that you are involved in other things other than just everyday life of learning. So I
Absolutely.
encourage you to step outside the box, push your babies, push us. Hey, you guys are doing great. I was thinking that this would be a great idea for the school. This would be a great fundraiser. We are open to anything and we appreciate everyone for supporting. I appreciate so much and I just want to thank everybody for all that they do.
Thank you so much for your time today. And this has been a teacher talk with Dr. K, spotlighting our fantastic A'Maya Wiley, sixth grade science teacher. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll talk with you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.